Hello. Today we'll be discussing the tastes of our parents, your parents, and the kids. Why there's always a difference in what parents like and what their kids like in music, in gaming, in video shows. Um, what's your opinion, Peter?
Um, my opinion is that as we get older, not our synapses, but our ability to learn gets worse and worse. So things like new technology or um just anything new would seem too hard to learn, if
Yeah,
it makes
would you be
sense.
surprised if I say that over 2000 years ago, people were complaining exactly about the same thing, that they think that new generation have no taste, they do stupid things.
I think it's also a part of like our culture to kind of hate the earlier generation and the older generation and only like your own generation. Like even Gen Zs, no, they don't like Gen Alpha. They say that Gen Alpha are even more stupid and they like even worse things than Gen Z. And they don't like millennials because they're old
They're
and
old.
weird. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Okay, what do you think, Victoria?
I think it's all the matter of the surroundings that you're growing up in like if you're growing up among your generation, so you automatically start to perceive things that they perceive and like things that they like. So I think it's like just about the things that we are used to. So for example, like my parents, they're used to one, I don't know, Soviet films and stuff and music from the 90s. But if it comes to me, I was not grown in this atmosphere. I was not grown in this surrounding. So, and that's why I'm not really into it, for example. But I'm into different things that my surroundings are into. So, like my generation is into. And as long as we are growing up, I don't think that our preferences actually change. Like I start to notice when I analyze myself and analyze the like the younger generation. Like I used to perceive myself as a modern person and up to date with up to date views, but I really started questioning this point of view because when I see what the younger generation likes it, like I don't understand it. I just don't get it. I'm not between them. I just can't understand them, and that's why I don't like it. But I like things that I used to like when I was a child, and I stick to these things during my growth. So I think that's just the only matter of fact.
Can you please give some examples?
Okay, like for example, if it comes to gaming, I used to think that I'm like, a gamer girl. I play tons of video games and I'm like into it. I kind of understand even children talking about video games and I we can be the same wave. But like then I started to notice, for example, in our country, our younger generation, they're playing Roblox, some mobile games, and they're really obsessed with mobile gaming. While my generation is more obsessed with the PC gaming, like we're more into it, and it's really hard for me to understand it because like I just can't get how can you enjoy playing like some stupid games, stupid I don't know fightings on this little screen when you have like the whole world of PC gaming in front of you. So yeah, like that's an example. Or when it comes to my parents and me, for example, um, I have a great example. It's not like about mass culture, it's more about like the views on the medicine and stuff. Like I started to take antidepressants half a year ago, and my father still thinks that it's some sort of ecstasy or something like this. So he just can't get what's the point of it, and he continues to drink valerianka to cope with his problems, and he thinks that this is the only solution that we have.
Peter, and do you have some examples? Like, how do you relate to what Victoria says?
I don't know. I feel like I'm starting to get to that point where I'm like, I don't really understand what the younger generation is doing. But like, I feel like if I think about it rationally, I can think, oh yeah, I used to do things like this. It's just a little different than from what I used to do. Like, I used to watch a lot of like stupid videos on YouTube with a lot of like, I don't know, it was just like nonsensical, like just random humor. And I feel like that just carried over to this generation, especially because some of the stuff they watch, like I see on TikTok a lot of things, and there's like, look at what Gen Alpha is watching. This is it's weird. It's you can't understand it with who is giving them these things, and I'm just like thinking back, and it's like, oh yeah, I used to watch things like this. It's not. I understand what's going on there.
I don't know. I still can't get this thing because I know that I know about America, but in Canada, but in Russia, we have like the similar app similar to TikTok, which is called Likey. And it is supposed to be for the younger generation. Like you will see like children, like there are truly children recording videos of them dancing and doing some really stupid stuff. And it is extremely popular in Russia, and they really enjoy watching it. But I've never thought that there would be an app for young people that I've never heard about. But that was an example. Like I truly never heard about it, but it came out to be super popular among the younger generation.
What's the name of this app?
Likey. It's like, but with double E at the end.
Double E, Likey.
Likey.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Is it available for the foreign downloads? Or?
Yeah,
I
it's
think
like the same as TikTok, like basically the same. But like
it's
the
just Russian
content that you
version.
see here is like both.
Because I
I think
love TikTok. That's why I'm asking, because
you won't like it. Like you can try, and it's like it's awful. Like you know, when I watched like videos here, like I got super used to this app because each time I was seeing a new video, I was like, how the hell did they come up with this? Like imagine like 10-year-old girls, and they are putting on themselves tons of makeup, like some bikini and stuff, and showing off in front of the same 10-year-old boys, and they're making million likes on these videos.
It's the same in the West, like this. It's been like
Well,
that
it's
since
like
TikTok came
we
out.
didn't have this when we were young. Like it wasn't
Um,
appropriate for us to do this.
it's just like this hypersexual culture that we live in now. It's you can't
Yeah.
escape it. Like it's just I don't know. That's just what's gonna happen now. I think the best way to do like it's definitely not good for kids to do this.
Like
Like
what
it
is gonna be the
desensitize.
future? Are
Yeah,
they gonna sexualize the newborns? I don't know. Because like I am watching this and I just mind blowing for me.
yeah.
you sound like old people.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like I hear myself from like from the outside, and I truly understand that I do sound like an old. Like I have a niece, and he's about like to turn 10 years old and something like this. He doesn't have any
Niece or
phone.
nephew? Nephew?
Nephew. Yeah. He doesn't have any phone yet, but I imagine when he gets his first phone,
Why is it
he will.
normalized to get kids to give kids phones? I didn't get my first phone until I was like 12 or something. Like
Because
I
it
don't know
wasn't
why it's
invented before that. It's a very recent invention, like
Mhm.
no
smartphones.
phones have been around for like I don't remember
Smartphones
when
are since 2007. That's all
Yeah,
they
so
do.
I literally do not remember a time when there was no smartphones.
Yeah,
but
but their
as
popularity was slow. It was slowly coming in.
I remember times without smartphones. I remember I
well,
had this
yeah,
like, phone with buttons on it.
I also had a phone with buttons on it. That was the first phone I've had. Yeah, I
Yeah.
lied. I lied. I didn't get a smartphone until I was like 12, but my mom gave me an emergency phone that was like a flip phone. I missed that phone, honestly. I got rid of it because I was made fun of, and then I got a smartphone for having the flippy thing, right? And the didn't have all
When
the
we
cool
will
features.
have the microchips in our brain, people won't be able to make fun of us for having the older versions because it won't be seen from outside what version of microchip we have, right?
Maybe Apple makes it so the older the version of microchip you have, it lowers your IQ with it.
Maybe,
So you
yeah,
stay don't
Great idea.
upgrade, it lowers it.
exactly. So let's move towards more serious question. Don't you think that this gap between generations, misunderstanding, miscommunication, absence of interest, actually make a negative impact on the society and progress and the development?
I really disagree with that. I feel like it's just human nature to do this. And when we do this, I feel like there's whole new eras that are born from this. Like the huge shifts in the 1900s, how like culture completely shifted from the 70s, then to the 80s, then to the 90s, then to the early 2000s. Like how fast those changes started happening. I feel like it was because of those generational differences and because of like the more disobedient and what's the word for it? Punk
Non-compliance.
punk culture that was around there, separating themselves from the older generations and making something new is what really put us out there.
Yeah, like if we're not making
If we're not
the
make yeah, if we're not make sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but if we're not making any progress, then there's no progress made, right?
Mhm. So like the only way for generations to understand each other is like there are two ways. For parents to force their children to like what they like, or for parents try to understand the way their children think, which is kind of impossible, I guess. Because
It
like
is. I'm trying. That's why we have those programs, intergenerational programs. I'm trying to be on the front edge of what the youth is thinking. I always invite young people and talk to them. And
I don't think how the youth is thinking ever really changed. I feel like it's just different things that have changed. So it's just different things. Like toys are just they're starting to get replaced by a different thing. I feel like it's the same mindset of having fun. Uh, did my internet go up? What happened?
no, we can hear you.
Yeah.
Um,
I
it's
mean,
yeah.
having it's impossible to look at the world with the children's eyes, having all this experience that you have behind your shoulders. Like there is no way you can perceive, I don't know, gaming with the way I perceive it or the way Peter perceives it, just
Yeah, no,
because you have a different experience and it affects your like way of seeing it.
Um, yes, but what I'm trying to achieve is the better understanding and uh, the ability of the older generation to move towards the younger generation and cooperation between the generations in building up the better future. And what I'm worried is the gap between the generations, which I believe is a little bit unnatural gap. Like it shouldn't be that deep. There should be better connection. We should better understand what you do, why you do, the fun you have, and the ideas you have. And when Peter says that the ideas didn't change, the way of thinking didn't change, it did. It did change.
Oh, I definitely disagree with that. I feel like it's just different technology now, and it's
No,
just
when like if you ask someone who is 40 years old what love means, and you ask 20 years old or 25 years old, and then you ask 15 years old, you might get slightly different answers. And the biggest gap might be between 40 and 15, right? And when we were discussing last time about flexibility, for example, and we all agreed, all three of us agreed that this is beneficial to be flexible. The principles is the most expensive thing to have, and it's not very useful. For example, if we talk to people from my generation, they would consider me as an outcast for having such ideas. Okay, because for this generation, the principles is the core, being self-consistent, being built based on the principles was always a key, and being too flexible, like we decided, is beneficial, is a bad thing. Relationship. If you talk to my generation, most of the people would say that it should be monogamous, it should last forever, and everything else is just abnormal. Even though you can see that they are not acting that way anymore. They can be 3 times divorced or whatever, but they will still insist on those principles, and it will actually create the discrepancy between what they believe and what they do. If you talk to younger generation, they would never say that things, actually. They would be way more flexible with that. And therefore they will be way more consistent with how they live and what they do, and with the expectations they have. Like you say, how we perceive the psychological health and pharmacological health in our depressions and other things, very different in different generations. Psychology has become an instrument of the wider culture. Like if we start to discuss some issues with our friends, we would use the terminology from psychological field. We would say toxic, narcissistic, codependency, right? We will use the terms from psychology, which is not the case for the older generation, for example, which think that going to psychologist is weird, odd, and should be done only in cases if someone cuckoo, and have this approach to antidepressants as, like you say, some kind of narcotics or something bad. And this influences their lives, even life expectancy. We know that depression has the strong connection to suicide or suicidal behavior, like not taking care of yourself, not like it's not just fun. The way you think is the way you live, and how happy you live and how long you live. And those beliefs in our modern days, they are quite counterproductive. They are making people unhappy and dying too early. So That's what I think. And like when you say I would never feel the same way you feel about gaming, but every time you talk about anything, I'm trying to put myself into your shoes and imagine how would I feel being younger and having the same environment you have. And I more and more I believe that a person, if the person consciously doesn't employ the constraints of his psychological issues, can be a white piece of paper every time, and there is no practical absolute difference between the abilities to understand things between the generations. And when you say I would never understand something, I would like to disagree. I want to understand. I want to be, and not because I want you to like me, because I'm different from my previous generation, your previous generation, and I'm just trying to be as much as possible adjusted to the world to come, to what will happen next year, couple of years. I don't want to fall behind. I want to use all the instruments, all the opportunities that are available at the time they're available. That's why you asked me, do I have Telegram? Yes, I do. Do you have TikTok? Yes, and not just TikTok. I made a lot of videos for TikTok. I had the whole team helping me doing different videos. So I even wrote a book about TikTok. There's very few topics that I didn't write book about as of yet.
I
Yeah,
feel like um I feel like the reason why like that gap is getting farther and farther, especially on the internet, is because that gap is formed for really predatory like app design and predatory marketing and just like in general things that like pop up when you're on the internet or on TikTok or on any social media that is popular currently. Like, did you notice that when TikTok went big, every single other company ever started implementing shorts into their user base because shorts are very addictive. They are designed kind of like a slot machine where you pull the lever by swiping and you get like a random chance of getting a really funny video or getting a really boring video, right?
but we tried
And
doing it with regular TV sets when we changed
regular
programs.
regular TV sets are different because that's more long form entertainment,
Yeah,
which
but
is
what men were accused in the times when we had just TV, changing the programs, like all the time, changing the programs, changing the program. In Soviet times, there were only 2, 3 programs. There was no way to change them. But in like 90s, when there was no computers, we just sat in front of TV set with 100 programs, channels, and you just push the button, push the button, push the button. So it was like something similar to the same thing we do with TikTok. All right.
it's I would disagree completely on that because TikTok, when you cue into TV, at least it's something long that keeps your attention for more than 60 seconds. When you
No, no,
like
no.
as soon as
I
you
would be
find
changing the
something
channels even faster.
there and like after you keep swiping, you find something, it's gonna be either 20 minutes or to an hour long, right? It'd be either a TV
That's
episode or something
true,
like
but
that.
what
But
happens
like
when you swipe something and you like it, the next ones would be similar to one that you liked it, which is similar
what
to
TV?
no in TikTok.
Oh, TikTok, yeah, no. But I specifically know this is how they designed the app. They literally give you bad videos for a little bit, and then they give you a really good video to keep you there. This is like a part of its design to keep you going. I've done literal like tests on this. Like I would see how many videos are good and how many videos are horrible. And I've been on these apps for longer than a year. They know me better than I know myself on there, right? And they, even though they know me very well and they know what type of content I like and what type of content I laugh at, they give me terrible video, terrible video, terrible video, the ones that I would never be interested in. And then they would give me something funny, something good, and I would be like, okay, I got to keep scrolling now because I might get something else funny, right? And
Right.
it's the same way as a slot machine. When you pull the lever, you keep going, you keep going, you keep going, you win some money, you keep going, you keep going, you keep going, right?
Yeah,
It's the
but I don't think that it's a bad thing. It's a very
how is
entertaining.
it not a bad thing? Our children's depression rates are higher than it ever was. It ever was. Our loneliness rates are higher than ever was. And I can tell you it's because of these apps, it's because of COVID. I can tell you all of this, but it's because it's very predatory. It's very everything on those apps are made so it would keep your attention to the color of the button when you hit like, to the color of that button, to anything
So
else.
you
It's there
blame
to keep your
talk in the fact that kids are depressed, and I say that
I don't blame
TikTok might make them survive this depression because
I
they might
completely
have
disagree.
been.
No, it's just a
When I
way
go
to.
on TikTok, I feel like shit after like an
I
hour
feel
of being
great.
on there. How do you feel great? I go on there for an hour and then I leave
Just
three
you can't
hours later.
perceive it the way we perceive it. Like for us, TikTok is the only way of entertainment that we have. Like for like tons of teenagers that have TikTok, this is the only way to entertain
But
themselves.
it's
You have
great,
tons of
great.
different
It's
ways.
Dad, you get way different stuff than I do or anything. They specifically make it for you. For children, they make it way worse. You
But
don't
you can
understand.
choose whatever you want.
No, you can't. They literally like TikTok spies through your phone to figure out your age, to figure out your phone number, your SIM code, whatever. They figure out everything about you. They literally spy on you to figure out better what to give you.
You can make your
You cannot
profile
control
different.
it, Dad. I literally made fake profiles for old people and they would still give me the things that I want to see. I would literally handpick things that you or mom would send me, stuff that stuff that you or mom would send me, and they would still figure it out because it's connected to my phone, which is connected to my Google profile, which is connected to my age, which is connected to my other TikTok accounts, which is
That's
connected to
very
my other
interesting
things.
perspective because I thought that the main algorithm is uh, like they tried it with the chimpanzee, and chimpanzee when it watched TikTok and had the ability to change the like some handle to change those channels, very soon it was offered the videos with chimpanzees.
Well,
Even without any profile, they gave the chimpanzee someone's phone, and it started with regular stuff. But because randomly some monkey appeared in one of the videos, this chimpanzee kept watching this video and not changing because
yeah.
the chimpanzee is more interested in
This
chimpanzees.
algorithm is very smart. It will figure it out.
Yeah, so
Anything.
I'm trying to say that it overrides your age or whatever. The most
I'm
important what you are interested
It's
in.
a complex instrument. It doesn't work like only like by your age, by your profile, and etc. Like it works like in a complex.
it literally it plays off of your like it plays off of your like animalistic impulses. It really does. If you were a man and you went on Instagram Reels, you would get like and this is like I'm just talking from experience here and from seeing other friends' phone, you would get a lot of ass on there.
You
Just straight
know
up
why?
ads.
Because like chimpanzee, someone is prone to watch longer the video with the ads for the first time, and then they offer even more ads, and then they watch it even more.
No, I completely agree. That's how it does it, and that's
So
really
it's
predatory.
not a
and
problem of the system, it's the problem of the guys. And also, I believe it's not a problem at all. I don't think that it's
How
bad.
is that not a problem? It,
For
like
depressed,
it's
for depressed individual, getting some hormones of joy and happiness in their system when they see
it's short term. It's not real. It's like it's literally like drinking and then saying I'm happy because I'm drinking right now. And then when it's done, you're like I feel like shit because I've done nothing while doing this. It's short-term dopamine. It means nothing.
I
It's
have an impression that Peter is 78 years old.
Well, I can agree with Peter on the thing that it doesn't anyhow cure your depression or
it
any
doesn't
other.
help at all. It like
Yeah,
those
it actually
dopamine
worsens.
receptors in your brain, they can get fried really easily, especially if it uses stuff like this, because those dopamine receptors are built for you completing something that is satisfactory and keeps you living longer. If you like, if we're literally thinking caveman ways, if you killed an animal and ate it, it would release dopamine receptors, so we would
Let's
go kill
make
more animals and eat
an
it.
experiment. I switch on my TikTok and I'll tell you what's the videos that it offers. Because we don't understand each other. I'm so happy and you're so unhappy. Okay.
Diver found a lost camera at the bottom of the sea.
It tells about the diver that found the lost camera at the sea. Very
Okay,
interesting video.
I'm interested. I'm interested. What will I get?
Okay, I'm opening my
Even the second one,
I got a car crash. You
2004,
can't really see it.
have uncovered the terrifying secret that this mysterious island has hidden for 80 years.
I don't have TikTok. I'm into YouTube
very
shorts.
terrifying
Count.
secret.
Australia and New Zealand.
Get a lot of cats.
Pyramid was discovered by British sea captain Henry Litchburn Ball.
It's an interesting video about the pyramid at the secret island.
Scientists have
You get some beardy man with great apps.
Okay, I'm getting nothing into I'm getting nothing educational or entertaining.
Very nice song.
I use this thing to literally time travel in my school.
Pink Panther. I would swipe.
$50,000. Mom needs kidney dialysis and we really don't have any money.
Yeah, the thing is,
How shameless of you to come here and beg us for money. I'll pay you guys back, I promise. It isn't my loser.
I would be watching this.
For money.
You'd be watching this?
I love this. It's a dash camera in St. Petersburg trend.
I get absolute garbage.
Like I love every single video. You see? I love those videos too. Like how would you look?
Isn't
That's
this
an advert.
ad? This
That's
is
an
Huh?
advert. It's an advert.
I like advertising. Oh, the fast food. I love it.
Dad, you get way more different things than I do.
Interview for the job. I would be watching this as well. Oh, it's a penguin. I would send to Muskin.
Mhm. I don't
Well,
know.
I mean-
Like it's honestly I use it kind of as a tool. I'm very
Oh, the
addicted
bear.
to this, but
Bear knocking the door. I would send it to Muskin.
yeah.
So
Like-
why
can't
you
just-
get what
yeah.
you don't like? I get what I
I
like.
get what I like. I'm telling you, like I get really bad. Like I'm not interested in this. Okay, you can't really see it. I'm getting a video with a jet ski. I'm getting something else. I don't care. I don't care. I don't care. Something funny. I don't care. 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 Something funny. Like I get a
So,
funny guy like this guy
You
right here.
can't complain. You just get what you like.
No, it's not good for you. This is not good for you. I literally, Dad, I use this to like time travel when I'm in school and there's nothing to do. I go on this and then it immediately becomes 3:10 and then I'm like, oh,
I
school's
was
over. I
so
can go now.
happy. I spent the worst years during my school days. It was so damn boring.
Dad,
It was
but the problem is with this, you can wake up and then you're on this thing for 3 hours and you haven't gotten out of bed. And you're telling me that's healthy.
Because like this TikTok is the way of living of tons of people around the world.
That's terrifying. I don't
Like
want
the
that to
only way
happen.
of
I
living.
feel like shit when I'm on this thing for like more than
I
20
feel
minutes.
I feel recreation after this. I
You feel your
feel
mind at ease after that.
I feel anticipation. And to tell the truth, I was watching TikTok right now and I was thinking, oh, that's great. We have 5 minutes and now I can go and watch TikTok for an hour.
And that's awful. It's not productive. It's not good for
It
you.
is productive. I
I
get
would
amount of ideas. I love it.
But it's just
that
from your
because
point
it's
of view,
because
for
that's
like
what you get. Like for me, I don't get anything educational. I
Then
only
you
get
can make the search.
I mean,
but the
Boris,
thing
I
is I don't
mean,
want educational things.
You don't
That's-
want educational.
because I don't
I
care
think
that
the
much.
problem here, we are touching base with a very fundamental problem of knowing yourself. Like you
you
said,
have a basis. You
what
have a basis in your mind, like some basis of some knowledge, of some, I don't know, you were doing philosophy and other stuff during your whole life. And when TikToks comes into your life, you're like, oh, that's great. That's like another tool that I can use to do things that I already got used to. So you got used to some education, you got used to some self-development and stuff, and you really do use it for these purposes because you're already into it.
and you
But
say that the kids, they act like chimpanzees.
yeah.
They
Yes,
get
it's like have you seen like the just like the kids just sitting on the iPad staring into it blankly with no expression or anything,
But I
Yeah.
can tell you
scrolling
guys,
for
when you
hours?
didn't have this, it was hell. We had
No,
to
it was
sit
not.
6 hours at school.
Okay, in
It was
school, like
hell, boring, very boring.
I can agree on using it in school because like fuck, if you have nothing to do, this is perfect. It's like I use it as a time traveling machine, basically, if that makes
You're
sense,
very
because it just
happy.
skips
I
time.
would love to. Okay,
Yeah, but you
in other time,
In other time, if you wake up and you go on your phone, you're probably gonna go on TikTok. You're probably gonna sit on there for 2 hours and get nothing done.
and you
and
don't
what
have
would
any
you
other
do
basis.
instead? Wait a second. What would you do instead? What?
I don't know, get up, go
And
take a shower, go
What
Communicate
for?
eat.
with people, read something. I don't know, just live your life. Like create
Wait a
some
It's
second.
basis.
Wait a
way
second.
better if
What
I
for?
just it would be honestly better if I would wake up and then go play video games, then wake up and then go on this and then do this for 10 hours instead. This like I honestly when mom used to tell me like TV would fry my brain, this will fry your brain. Like it unironically fries my brain.
Sounds like your mom is talking, not you.
Well, I agree.
Maybe
It's
you
true.
just want to be a good son.
I mean, it must be tool, but it mustn't be just like your life, okay? But it is what happens to
It's a
tons of
different
people.
philosophy. Like, I think that if I enjoyed myself for a certain time, it's a win-win situation.
Okay, Dad, do you remember anything that you just watched 10 minutes ago? Because
Absolutely.
I can tell you I do not remember anything.
No,
I
I
just
do. I do remember. I watched about this camera that was dropped on the bottom of the
Okay, what about a
ocean.
day ago when you went on TikTok? Do you remember
A
anything from
lot.
there?
And sometimes I tell to friends like, and a joke or an anecdote from what I've seen on TikTok. And when I really like it, I share it, and then I can find it where I shared it. And yes, I like it.
So you see, and here is the difference between the generations, the way
Yeah.
our perception of the world works. Okay? Like you watch it consciously, like you think about the video, you find
And
some
by the
idea.
way, I let you see there were no girls there, which means that I'm not watching too much girls these days.
Maybe
Dad,
you have another
you're
TikTok.
not our age. Like you don't understand it. Like it's different. Like the reason why it's so bad, I genuinely feel like I have ADHD now because I cannot focus in school with it being there constantly.
There is no
It's
point to focus at school.
no,
School
it's
is
not about
bullshit.
that. It's just like I literally try to focus on one thing and I cannot. I cannot focus on that one thing for
The
more
one
than
thing, the
10
one thing
minutes.
that we all have to focus is to determine what makes us happy.
This
And
does not
whatever
make me
makes
What
us
makes you
happy,
happy?
And I don't think it makes you happy
I'm not
either.
saying it makes me happy. For
It does
sure.
not make you happy. I disagree with that. I definitely do not think it makes you happy.
You can't tell
There's
me
no
what
way.
makes me happy and what doesn't, because it's only the person that actually can report about himself.
Okay,
I mean,
so
it's just
if a
like the
heroin
way
addict says that
enjoyment.
heroin is making them happy, are they real? Is that
Heroin
true?
doesn't make them happy. Heroin
This
makes
is the
them
same
feel.
like heroin. This is as addictive as heroin.
No, we lived with addicts in our house, right? With the shelter. They feel normal when they get a dose. And when they don't, they feel very bad.
Can you imagine the poor kids who are growing up with this shit now? And then they will have to do any little bit of focusing for more than 30 seconds in anything ever.
You think that when we were kids and we were playing with the old jar at the
That I can't even read a book anymore because of
I
this.
can't either, because it's stupid.
Because of this.
Reading book is boring. I have no books anymore. It's boring. Who have
You're
time to
spoiled
read
right
books?
now. Like
What?
you see it, maybe you're just spoiled mind right now. Like you see it as a some sort of happiness, and that's why you avoid the real happiness and like the real entertainment that you can get out of books. And it's like obviously books.
Reading
Like
books is boring.
no, it is not.
Yes, it is.
You
It's a very long, boring process. Sitting and reading the book. When the concepts that you can get from this book can be given to you by GPT-4 in a second.
But
Like
you
this.
want
But you
but
won't
you want
remember
to
that.
fully perceive them, like, and put them in your mind, and I don't know,
Guys,
create some
I'm living
ideas and
now
some
like
minds.
the speed of my life and the content of my life is about 100 times more, 100 times more than it used to be before TikTok, before artificial intelligence. I'm writing books like this. I'm getting new concepts like this. I feel myself like
Dad,
super
that's
superhero.
awesome that you can use this like responsibly and as whatever you use it as, but like it's completely different for other people. Like for us, it's a complete downside.
Yeah,
For
but
me,
all instruments like that. There is a
it
hammer.
saps
You can
all
smash
of
the
my
hammer into your head and kill yourself. But the hammer can build you things. It was always like that.
Whereas it's like
It's
to
not
compare 19 this is the 19, what's the sound to topic called? Like the Huxley's anti-utopy and the Orwell's anti-utopy. Like they say that George Orwell's anti-utopy is worse because like the war is here and people are killing each other. But in fact, the Huxley's anti-utopy, like the Great New World, or I don't know the name of it in English,
Brave New
like
World.
it is
Great.
worse because we like the way of living, like the
And
way
honestly, Brave New
living.
World is way more what's the word? It's way more now Like it's happening now.
Yeah.
Brave New World. Like it's way more because we're not being controlled via like discomfort or pain. We're being controlled via dopamine. This
Yeah.
this is mind control. It is. It is because as soon as you watch this, you have no motivation, you have no reason to live. All you want to do is just go back to this and keep watching it and not
I
question
get
anything.
my
You don't want to do
inspiration,
anything.
my motivation.
You-
Sometimes
you-
Yeah, that's
one,
awesome. That's
sometimes
awesome. But I'm
one,
telling you that 99%
sometimes
of
one
the
video has pushed me to write the whole book.
Yeah, but it
that,
only
that's
comes to
awesome.
you.
But
You're
I'm
like
not
less
like
than
that,
one.
and 99% of the population isn't like this. If they you can call it, you can, some people say like when they're on drugs, they get a lot of creativity. But guess what? They do nothing with that creativity because it's just, it's there. It's in a void. It's in their head, right? It's not like they're gonna get up from their chair and immediately go do that thing that they thought was.
So what's
Is
your
what-
solution, guys? My solution
rid of
is
this.
that I would share my experience with those same instruments and trying to let others to use the same approaches as I do with the same instruments that you claim to be so harmful.
Yeah, and you know what they
But
will do?
these
They'll just
instruments
listen
are
to your idea, perceive it just like one of the others' idea that they heard on TikTok and do nothing about it.
Exactly. And the thing is, the reason why they're not targeting you and targeting us, because we're not too far gone. We can be like easily hooked by this.
But guys, you
You're
know what?
fine.
We are closing. Let me say, you're very nice, but I'm positive and you're negative. I'm giving the solution.
This is not negativity.
And
This
you're
is just the truth.
taking away the solution. So what? Close down TikTok, go everybody outside, play with the old tins and jars and the bolts that you
I'm
put.
saying that this isn't entertainment at all. This is just sapping everything from you. I can understand how other things could be perceived, even though like I disagree that like other things are entertainment, but I think that this is complete
Okay,
garbage. Like nobody
theory,
ever needs
my
this.
theory is the nature wants us to propagate the species. It's a complicated process that we need at least two persons to do. It's complicated. So when we are not mature enough, we get a lot of endorphins, like narcotic-like state when we are young, like kids. If we stay in this state, we would never go to these complicated endeavors to pursue some more happiness because we are already happy. So at teenage time, we lose this ability to get enough endorphins. And it naturally causes to depression because when you are getting those endorphins for nothing and you stop getting them internally, you get depressed. And this depression can be treated by meaningful relationship with the opposite sex. If you fall in love, you get endorphins again, right? And this pushes us to look for something that would restore the state of happiness that we used to have when we were kids. So not TikTok is the thing to blame for our depression. It's a natural process which ensures.
I'm not blaming just TikTok for
Yeah.
the depression. I feel like it's a huge reason why this is happening. This is it's like graphical. You could literally search of like spikes in depression since when like TikTok and all this shit started, and it definitely went up.
No, we
by
were
a lot.
depressed as much as you were depressed. And what we did, we drank vodka in Russia. We did drink vodka, we drank beer
So you're
in
saying-
quantities you would not even.
So you're saying that TikTok is an alternative to drinking?
Yes, it is. Our
But
generation
you
is
know, you
less
understand that
drinking,
it's as
less
bad as
smoking.
drinking.
What?
You understand that it's as bad as drinking.
No, it's not as bad as drinking.
It's definitely as bad as
No.
drinking.
Think about it, guys. Think about it. And just a confirmation from Victoria. Do you agree that some biological patterns can explain our behavior in this stage?
Our obsession with, you mean our depression during, after the teenage years, after
Yeah.
the adolescence?
Yeah.
I'm not sure about this. I'm like, it sounds like a great theory, but I've seen no proof. Yes, I've seen no proof. to this
I
theory.
have proof for you. I agree that with that there is a correlation between like just like a spike in endorphins and then taking that away. I feel like that happens because societally we take away things that brings us endorphins. So, for example, Dad, when's the last time you climbed a tree?
Never.
Okay, Victoria, when's the last time you climbed a tree?
I never climbed a tree. I
You never
was
climbed a
too
tree?
afraid to get hurt.
You guys never had a childhood? Come on.
Well, it sounds like this. I read Stoicism when I was 14. Okay.
Okay. All right. Fair enough.
Another question. Ask me another question.
What do you mean?
Well,
What's the
instead of the
last
tree.
time-
Okay.
something more.
Have you been outside? When's the last time you've been outside and just walked around with nothing, with no plan to do?
Very long ago.
Yeah, I feel like that like exploration of our world around us is kind of sapped away from us as kids. Because as soon as we get hurt or if anything happens to us, we're immediately told, don't do that again. Instead of being told, how could you avoid doing that again? Right? Because I feel like a lot of those endorphins comes from that exploration and understanding of what's going around in your surroundings. And when you take that away by just saying don't do this or don't do that again, I feel like that just sucks away all the creativity out of it.
Yeah, but it sounds more like a social factor, not like a natural factor. In all
That's
honesty.
a social factor. I agree. No, that's a definite social factor. And I think that's also a reason why kids are way more fragile. Like, you know, all the old people are saying, oh, this generation is so fragile now. I feel like that's one of the main reasons, because the last generation was even more fragile and didn't want their kids to hurt themselves or anything.
We
right?
are as fragile as you are, believe me. Okay, guys, thank you so much. It was very, very insightful. All right, thank you.
Bye.
Bye bye.